Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. Welcome back to Rush Racing League, where tonight it'll be Division 3 racing around the Circuit of the America in Texas. I'm your host, Lamb, also known as Ryan by some. I am joined in the comms box by my co-host tonight in Sick Party. Sick Party, how are you tonight?
I am doing pretty good. Lamb, how about yourself?
I am doing wonderful. I'm very excited to get this race underway as Cota has been a pretty exciting week so far. So this is going to be a blast when we get to it. And we are also have a very special guest tonight in our team of the week, being Williams, which means we get to interview their TP and Dito. Dito, are you here, man?
Yes, mate. How you going?
I am doing wonderful, man. How about you?
Yeah, good man. Happy to be here.
That's what we love to hear. Obviously, your team in Williams has gotten Team of the Week. And while we'll go over the results, I think that is a great way to start off. So, obviously, in Div 1, you had yourself and Jono managing to score a double podium and starting off the week quite strong and really setting that example for the rest of the divs. Do you think that was key in really building the confidence in the team across the rest of the week?
Yeah, I think so, man. I think Div One's always the one to lead. And obviously it helps with the strategy and everything. So if you tend to have a good week, a good race in Div One, tends to follow through. So yeah, definitely helped, mate. Definitely put some confidence into the guys. So it was good to see.
Oh, well and truly. And then obviously after Div 1, we had Division 2, where maybe a little bit on the no, maybe not definitely not as good as it was in Div 1, but still relatively good. Obviously you had your driver here tonight in Chaos reserving up as well, which is always good. What was the mentality like going from Div 1 into Div 2 for them?
Yeah, it's a tough one for Chaos reserving up, but he did quite well. He obviously was a bit unlucky with a bit few incidents there, but Div Two's a very competitive division at the moment, and yeah, we're just trying to scrape by with some points in there. So yeah, they did really well. I thought, considering the long race, but yeah, happy with how it went.
Yeah, 100%. And then obviously Chaos taking that experience from Division 2 and bringing it down into his own division in Division 3. Even though he didn't get quite up there like his teammate Deadly managed to get P2 in Division 3, which is always going to be a really big step up, considering that would be technically the third podium for your team that week. Was that a big confidence boost for the guys in Division 4 after that?
Yeah, I do think it was, man. I think it was a confidence boost for Deadly as well. He obviously was really unlucky with that 10 seconds, so we were quite fortunate to get that removed, and obviously no fault of his from him. So yeah, he really deserved that podium, and I think it's gonna lift the team. Obviously, him as well for this week, but definitely carried over into Div 4 for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, setting that example from Deadly Fuller into Div 4, it did go quite well, I'd say. You got Paul and Hell in P7 as well for Division 4, which rounded out the week quite comfortably, I'd say, for you. And obviously, with all of that, you have gotten Team of the Week. Was there any? Do you reckon there was anything they maybe could have changed across the week, or are you pretty happy with how it went?
You always want to have room to move forward, room to improve, and we definitely do. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to get sorted, and the fact that we're scoring the amount of points we are at the moment, and doing how we're doing with everything not running 100%, gives me a lot of confidence. So it's yeah, we still have room to improve, and we haven't really hit our full potential yet, which is really really happy. Makes me happy, so that I know that we can keep going forward. But yeah, just it's really early days in the season, man. So I'm just trying to keep everyone calm. It's only round 3 now, so yeah, we haven't been in this position in a long time. So just yeah, just kind of trying to ride the wave a bit and see how we end up.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, being I I think it's pretty clear. I think it's about a 50-point gap in overalls at the moment from your team to P2, which is quite a big margin at this stage of the season, I think. So obviously, is it go to more or less trying to build on that gap, or maybe try to calm things down a little bit and maybe save a little bit of the guys' energy for later rounds where they might be stronger?
Just yeah, just keep taking it round by round, mate. Whatever happens is a bonus. But yeah, it's a long, long way to the end. So yeah, don't really want to be looking at that too much just yet. I just want to keep the form we're going, and get everything running on all cylinders. And yeah, the sky's the limit there. So obviously got you and your brother chasing me down in the overalls, so it's going to be a good battle.
Oh yeah, 100%. That rounds out my questions, and I will pass you over to Sick Pie to see if he has any more questions for you.
Cheers, mate.
Dino, congrats on Team of the Week last week. Obviously, you by far, I'd have to admit, your team probably had, as much as it depends, is the best week at Brazil. How has the form carried over to this week at Cota so far?
It started off relatively good. I fought with Div 1. Div 2 is obviously was a bit of a struggle last night. Similar sort of start to what we had with Abu Dhabi. Very similar positions, to be honest. So I'm not too worried just yet. We'll see how we go tonight and with Div 4. But Code is just proving to be a very difficult one for us. So I'm just trying to get the boys through this week, and we can reset for Netherlands.
And if you were to credit one person other than yourself, like that's helped your team out, it could be someone at your team or another engineer or something to help your team perform so well over the last few weeks. Who would you give that credit to?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I think it'd have to go to Kaus probably, and Jono, but those guys have stepped up a lot, helping me. I try to do most of the engineering, but obviously I can't engineer Div 1, and Kaus jumps in for that, so it's a big help having an engineer. Not quite used to that, so yeah, he's helped us out a lot, and obviously Jono's experience has definitely helped a lot as well.
And that is all my questions for you, Data.
Cheers, mate. Enjoy the comms.
Sweet, thank you, Digo. You are free to leave our wonderful establishment here in the comms box for tonight, and hopefully, good luck to your boys out there on track tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Alrighty then. So, with that, with Dido, we'll stick on board with TMT Legend, who is in the Red Bull tonight. This used to be your driver, Sick Party, who is the current Division 5, please correct me if I'm wrong on that, Division 5 Drivers Champion, currently here in Division 3. I reckon he's going to be looking to make a big stamp here right in this sprint qualifying. What do you reckon he's going to try that? Or do you reckon he's going to be a little bit more laid back, as he's kind of had that success last season?
Well, especially just in the sprint qualifying at the moment, as there is 3 minutes left and he's still appears to be going on a medium banker. It's probably not going to set the world ablaze, but obviously I worked with Team Ted last season at Kick. He was on very useful for his previous TP experience for me, especially being a new TP at the time. But it would just be interesting to see how he does this season in Div 3 now, which is a big jump from Div 5. So it would just be someone to look out for, I think.
Yeah, 100%, and we'll see what he can do when he comes out of all these tight and twisty sections of this track, which I don't know about you, but me personally, I do not like that. I think I'd prefer if it was maybe a bit more of Sector 1 akin, where it's a bunch of S's, which would suit me more personally, but it is what it is as a track, and obviously, right now, he's going to cross the line, gets a decent exit out of the final corner, up to line, P14, 134.9 on his medium compound of tyres. Now, everyone else, so there seems to be a little bit of a traffic jam on the pit lane exit. Now, everyone else is going to be coming out of that pit lane on their set of softs, looking to do what will be their final runs in the sprint qualifying, as we do have this sprint this weekend. So these guys are going to have to go through 2 qualifying sessions and 2 race sessions. But these guys, like Dave DM, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his actual username of David and Menmei, haven't set their laps yet, so maybe possibly saving. They might have gone with the higher tyre allocation and not had that medium to do their first banker run on, so they've just had the softs, which might play into some of these guys' hands, but at the same time, they're not going to have any delta to go off, they're not going to have a benchmark, and it's going to make it overall a little bit more difficult, I think, for these guys, as we saw Menmei's teammate Endure retire from the session. He is clearly happy with his lap time.
I believe we have a few people starting the lap. If you want to just tell me one, we'll just get on board with them.
I am sitting on board with the Alpine TP of Noah Huni as he comes through the S section. Take it away.
All right, Huni, is in the S's at the moment. He's finished Sector 1. He's 2/10 up, I believe, on his previous best lap, which would put him provisional P3, I believe, as he's going into the corner before the massive straight at Cota, which is sort of what the track's known for, really. He's burning his battery, presumably burning all of it, because why wouldn't you burn all your battery here, pretty much? You're down to 0%. You probably do a decent Lyco into the left-hander afterwards. Go into the slow sector, or the more slow sector 3 is 4.5 tenths up, which would put him provisional P2. Still a fair way away from provisional pole at the moment. But let's just see if he can finish this lap in without validating, and he'd be provisional P2. A bit of oversteer by getting on the battery, or just the rear kicking out a little bit by the looks of it. Through these last 2 corners now. His final corner hits the apex nicely, sets up the exit well, and his provisional pole. Props to Huni, 7/10 improvement, as his teammate as well goes P3. Filthy goes pole with a 30, or provisional pole with a 33.1. Can Mike Wazowski respond to this? As he's rounding the final corner as well, as I say that, and he cannot. He's a thousandth of a second off Huni. Very tight between P2 and P3. Minmay goes pole with a 33 dead. We're just seeing the final few cars across the line now. Who else is there? XT is one of them in the round of these last 2 corners. I cannot tell what car that is in front of him, but there's a car in front of him, which not serving well. Is really big flick into the last corner. Across the line. He goes to, I think that was P5? P5, yeah. Do you want to read out the quality order, Lamb? Or the sprint quality order?
Yes, I will. As we have the Mercedes man of Memme, who I did doubt a little bit at the start, but that doubt is very much gone, as he in the sprint quality has done a 133 flat to take the sprint pole and he is followed by Filthy, Noah Huney, Mike Wazowski, who didn't improve too much on his mediums, then AXT, Chaos, Moe Navs, Druzilla, OG Cookie, Crude Karma, Cristiano, TMT Legend, Deadly, Sunny Bray, SJ, Kojak, Jay-Z, Com, David, Connor, and Chevy Wolves rounds out your grid for the sprint qualifying. Yeah, these comms are back, man. It is back in Legend to Win. I reckon he's going to get up there. He wasn't the best qualifier last season, but his race pace was definitely his strongest suit. So I reckon he'll definitely get up there, and he'll probably be a lot better in the race. I've been reading too much data, just a little bit, but trust, it's going to take a lot more than just the data. But obviously, these guys are going to be doing their strategies, doing their fuel loads more importantly, and especially with this regulation of cars, the fuel, you can go a fair ways under on fuel and still be cooking by the end of the race, and that's really going to play in decent effect to these guys as well, I think. What do you reckon the fuel's going to be like for these guys, Sick Party?
Well, me personally, I don't want to give away, all my Elite Sick Party strategies for, Cota and the sprint and the feature race especially. But it is definitely a track you can underfuel that, depending just how confident you are. And we do have 5 red lights, which as I will take away. We'll see the 5 red lights, and it is lights on, away we go for these boys. I believe Minway's been a bit bogged down there, as he might lose. He's on the outside line. Filth takes the lead. Mike was out, up the inside, bit deep from the Aston. And I think Filthy should be able to stick this lead through the S's. There's a good start from the Ferrari driver, obviously. One of your drivers, which I'm not too happy about, but whatever. Is now, I believe we've sort of settled into an order now through this midfieldy sort of pack. As Filthy's, he's got a pretty comfortable lead, 6/10 already. Do you want to take it away a little bit, Liam?
Yeah, we'll take it away. Filthy getting away really well. 6/10 improvement, but maybe burning a bit too much faster. We will take a look. He's currently burnt down to 20%ish. Mike's got a fair amount behind, but he's got the Mercedes MMA right in his gearbox, who's followed by the Haas of AXT as AXT tries to go around the outside of the Mercedes, going in through turns 13, 14, and then soon to be 15 as AXT gets it done. MMA gets a little bit wide, and now he's going to be under attack from the Alpine of Noah Huney. He gets a nice switch back, as now they're going to be side by side through the famous triple rights here of turns 16, 17, and 18, as Huney goes all the way around the outside, burning a lot of his battery to do so, but gets it done, and is able to stick within the overtake mode, as the McLaren of OG Cookie is pulling into the pit lane. I do not know why, maybe to fix some damage, and he's retired from the session. He was in the points. That is not what you want to see from the McLaren squad. But right now, AXT and Huney on a charge. Meme obviously setting pole and doing his best Kimi Antonelli impression, where he just doesn't get off the line, and now he is a long way back down the grid, but he is still sticking on the back of that Alpine, and I'm sure the Alpine TP is going to want to really recreate what his Div 2 driver in Johnny last night did, where he was able to get the team's first podium of the season. And Huney, I'm sure, is going to be looking to recreate this, as he's just fallen off the back of AXT a little bit here. AXT having a little bit of battery, Huney having none now. That's going to make him susceptible to the Mercedes behind, as Menmei pulls out of the slipstream, looking to go down the inside into turn 12. They get through it very nicely. Now Chaos looking to make the Mercs night even more painful as they go through turn 13 and turn 14. Again, Menmei having that snap in turn 14. Chaos looking to go around the outside, gets the power down, gets the boost mode on, chooses to back out of the move. He's being very smart with the way he is burning his battery here, but all this fighting from Noah and Menmei has caused a break in the train, and Noah, I think, is going to be left without the overtake mode. Connor gets a 3-second time penalty for his interpretation of the track limits, and yeah, Huney has been left without the overtake mode, so he's going to have less recharge, and less power whenever he gets onto his boost button. So, and Deadly Fool has left the session. Can we get him an invite, please, Sick Party?
We'll do so, as AXD is attacking Mike Wazowski going through the S's here. He's really close to the Aston, and I'll just get these invites now then.
Sweet, thank you very much. As on the topic of losing the overtake mode, Mike Wazowski has lost the overtake mode to Filthy, which the gap is 1.7 seconds now, and Filthy is not looking to mess around. He wants this sprint race at victory. He is gone, and now it's going to make the Aston and Haas really probably be looking to fight for this P2, especially if they can't catch up to the likes of Filthy. So yeah, but Huni just catching up. He's getting in that 1 second window, but now it's about going to be sticking in that window when we get to the overtake detection point, which is right before the final corner of this track. And AXT has stuck quite well to the back of this Aston as they're looking to fight going into the last few corners. AXT looking to make the move. He pulls to the inside, gets alongside, takes the overtake mode as well. Never mind, I lie, he doesn't. Mike Wazowski gets it. And now it's in the Aston's hands as he goes defensive into him, looking to claim an apex. AXT looking for a switchback, just tags the back of that Aston and can't quite get it, but all his fighting is allowing Filthy to pull away even more than what he already is. But it's also bringing Huni and Menmate back into this, as Menmate is just going to be sitting behind there, recharging that battery, looking to make that strike on the Alpine, which in turn is also going to be looking to make that move on the Haas. But yeah, being at the start of this train, being the top two in the train, really, as Huni's looking to make a move into turn 11, gets it up the inside, little bit of contact there between the Alpine and the Haas. And yeah, these guys are really brawling at it. They know that their fight is not for P1 this race, it's going to be for P2. And all of these guys want a taste of that slice of cake being P2, as they're still side by side as they go into turn 12. They still haven't sorted this out. Oh, and they've just sorted it out now. So yeah, this is already spicing up a lot here in this Division 3 race. And obviously all of this fighting is going to allow the Cadillac of Moe and Kaus back in as Kaus has dropped out another position. The Williams man looking to build on the success of his team last week. He's P7 in the spread. He's in the points at the moment as it stands, but I'm sure he is going to be looking to get back up into this fight as Durr trying to get around the Audi of Sonny Bray, but he can't quite do it. We'll jump back up towards this fight for P number 2 as Deadly Fuller is back into the session. Thankfully he is, as the Williams are going to want all the drivers they can get into the points and as high into the points as they can. Yeah, these guys have really started to settle down now as the gaps are really starting to not form, but at the same time they're starting to form as Sonny Bray goes very wide in turn 11 as he's fighting the Kaus, and all this fighting between these two is going to allow them to be broken away by this train, which has gone all the way down to Moe now. But Huni starting to fall off the back of Mike Wazowski here a little bit. AXT drops it back there, still sticky in that P4 position. All these guys will maybe looking to make the most and maybe protect their medium. I believe it's all medium compound tires anyway. We'll take a look here. All mediums, they're all looking to protect their medium compound tires as Sonny Bray and Kaus are still fighting back here for that P7. And now Kaus looking to go around the outside of the Audi, sweeps around a little bit of contact on a little bit more between Durr and the Audi. There's now all this fighting and Sonny Bray has fallen down. I believe that's 3 positions now. That is not what you want to see from the Audi, as Kaus is looking back in his mirrors at his old rival from Abu Dhabi as Krutakama looking to get up the inside. Sonny Bray gets the switch back on him, and there's some Ray goes back through Recruiter, not looking to let go, but he has to, but he eventually backs out as they go into the S's. But we'll jump back up to this fight between Noah Huney and Mike Wazowski. We'll stick aboard with Noah for a lap of racing. As Huney is seemingly getting swallowed up by AXT, who's just gotten past him, and then Menmei right behind him, as these guys are all nose to gearbox here during in sector 3. And all this fighting has let Mike Wazowski break away from these guys in P3 and down, and now I believe AXT is going to be just outside that overtake range. We'll see what it is when he comes across the line. Will his battery? It doesn't. It turns from blue to yellow, meaning he does not have the benefits of the overtake mode. So, yeah, this fight has just gone from a fight for P2 to a fight to P3, and I'm sure the Aston Martin of Mike Wazowski is going to be looking to really break away now from these guys, and he's not going to want anything to do with these guys behind him. They have been very aggressive during their times fighting here in this sprint race in the last 7 laps. So yeah, these guys not looking to mess around. They want to get this podium, and there's only right now for these guys in the back, not in the back, but in the best of the rest, as some would say, that currently now only looks like it could be that final step on the podium for some of these guys. As if they don't catch up to Mike, it could very much be like that. As Huney pulls out of the slipstream, goes down the inside of AXT. AXT looking to set up the switchback, looks to the outside of turn 13. Can't quite get there, but now he's going to sit behind Huney as Huney goes very defensive going through turns 14 and 15. But I think now with this little bit of extra fighting, I think it is safe to say Mike Wazowski is going to be quite comfortably out of the overtake range, as Huney is running on fumes here with his battery. And never mind, Mike dropping back quite a fair bit and gives overtake mode back to the Alpine. That is quite a... Never mind, he doesn't give overtake mode to Audi. What? Typical EA things, I would presume. But yeah, Mike being on that quite a lot of battery. AXT has left the session! No, that is horrors for the man who was in P4, now in P5. Daily Fuller has also left the session again. This is horrors for the Houseman, who was looking to fight for that podium. And now, I don't think it's going to happen. It's going to take a little while for him to go back in. And his AI is not going to be quick enough to... His game throws, that is unfortunate from the Haas driver. But now that's caused a lot of breaks in train, as Huney still just sitting enough outside that 1 second window. They're all a bunch of 1 second gaps now. But Durr picking up a 3 seconds. That's essentially going to end his run here in P7 in the points. He'll drop down pretty far, probably down to Calm. Yeah, but that man in the Merc, he's done some crazy things here in this division so far. We'll see if breaking 3 seconds to the Audi is going to be one of them. But yeah, as it stands, Huney, he's built up a bit of his battery now. We'll see if he can get within the overtake range this lap on the Aston. Hopefully, for his sake, he can. We'll see as he comes up to the line. No, I don't think he gets it that time around as they activate the straight line mode. But I believe the car directly behind him in Menmei has gotten it. And yeah, he has. So one Merc, P7, 3 second penalty. The other Merc, P4, no penalty. So Menmei doing a little bit of the heavy lifting here tonight. I'm just stumbling my voice. But Huney just he's still running on fumes, the Alpine driver. He needs to, I think what this guy needs to do is he needs to just chill out a little bit, build up that battery. If he can get within the overtake range of Mike Wazowski, then go for it. But if he can't, it's not worth absolutely destroying the battery for it and making himself susceptible to the cars behind. But Meme broken away from mowing now, and AXT is only down into P6, and he might just be able to stay there as he's got quite a fair gap to Dirt behind, who does have the 3 seconds. So AXT's AI might be sitting pretty here, but we'll stick with this fight for P3 it is now between Huni and Meme. And as we come through turn 19, and for this final sequence of corners, Filthy crosses the line to start the final lap of the race, but our eyes are going to be peeled for this podium spot as Moe Nabs just manages to get back within 1 second of Menmei here for that overtake assistance, as Menmei is very, very good on battery here, and Huni, his battery is not looking too good, as Mike Wazowski again dropping back a little bit. Maybe he does have a red fuel light, whereas the only other one in this immediate train, I wouldn't even say immediate train, in the general vicinity is Filthy Mike and Durr. So well, Michael's Mike's been set against the wall.
That is unfortunate for the Aston there. It's heartbreak, really. Does he have damage from that?
He's
Yeah,
missing his
a little bit.
Oh my, holy comms!
Oh my god! He's going for it on Huni. Oh my! Down the inside, Huni's going to try stick it side by side through sector 3, which is always going to be interesting. Huni's on the inside for the right-hander, which now will be the outside for the left. I think Mime might have it unless Huni can hit a mighty switchback on him, which it doesn't look like he can do. Unless... Oh, he's going to try it. Can he hold it all the way around the outside here? Yes, he does. The Alpine. A little bit of a squeeze to the Merc. Unless there's a send here from Minmay at the last corner, which Minmay does not do. Huni should take P2, as Filthy does win the sprint. So it's Huni P2, Minmay P3, Moe P4, Marcus Aski P5, AXT P6. I believe it was on track Dirt for P7, but with a penalty, he drops to P9. So it's Sonny Bray and then Karuda rounds out the points. Pretty interesting sprint race from what I could hear, because for most part I was inviting people, but Liam, any other comments?
First and foremost, I'd like to very formally apologise to Mike Wazowski. That was probably the comms curse of the night. Literally, as I jumped onto him, I want to say, I'm going to assume of what he's done, as me and my teammate in Division 1 both did the same thing on Saturday, and it's just in this corner here in turn 10 there, where if you go a little bit too wide, not even too wide, but just a little bit wide, and not really on the curbing, there's a bit of asphalt in between you and that curb, you will spin out, as that was the common facts of me and my teammates spin outs in Division 1. So yeah, I'm assuming that's what Mike did, trying to keep the car as straight as possible, maybe gone a little bit wide and lost it on when he has tried to turn for the corner. But in the sprint race, Filthy is your winner as he takes the fastest lap as well, followed by Noah, Huni in P2, and Menmate rounds out your podium. Then Molly, Mike Wazowski, AXT, Sunny Bray, Kruda Karma, Der Kaus, Drewzilla, Com, SJ, Deadly Fuller, Chevy, David, Connor, Jazzy, Cristiano, TMT, Crowjag, and Cookie have all retired in the pits. That was an interesting sprint race, to say the least. Sick party.
I mean, yeah, well, it definitely sounded very interesting, and it looked interesting from the little snippets I got to see when I wasn't trying to invite people, but now we move on to qualies. Yes, back in. That's great. another one to have to fight again.
Dun,
Um,
dun. Another one back.
Alam, if you were to have any predictions on what the poll time would be in Div 3, what would you say? What would your prediction be?
On the poll time, I'm not. I've heard from a little birdie that some of these guys have done a 32.9, which isn't a whole lot faster than what it would have been in the sprint quality, but still a 32 in Div 3 is quite what's the word I'm looking for? Is quite big. Especially considering I don't remember what the quality was in Div 2. We'll take a look at it and we'll see if this is true and one of these guys does actually manage to pull off a 32.9, then we'll just take a look. In the feature quality for Div 2, a 32.9 would sit them in, once this chooses to load, in a pretty comfortable...
P12, I think? 32.9, yeah?
In a pretty comfortable P13,
Yeah.
only within a tenth of the next 4 cars and within 2/10 up to P7. So, if what I've heard does happen and it becomes true, they'd be pretty comfortable on the div above. But that's all we'll say on that matter. As Sonny Bray in the Twitch chat says, there will be race in the rain apparently. So, yeah, it does look pretty cloudy here in this qualifying session. So it wouldn't surprise me really if we do get some rain in the race, as it's pretty cloudy. It looks really dark. So we're not. So if it does rain, the rear wing of the straight line mode will not open, and we will not have the boost mode. There's a rain cloud coming, but the time is pretty marginal. So you wouldn't say a big chance of it then, of the rain, but still, we will pray for rain, as it will be the first rain session, I believe, so far in Rush this season. Will be these guys in Div 3 getting to experience it, and maybe Div 3 will become the wet weather division like Division 4 was for the majority of it. So we'll see what it is, and I'll pass over to you, Sick Party, for AXT's Hot Lap.
Alright then, let me get on AXT. Where is he? The Haas driver. He is through the S at the moment, just exiting Sector 1 now and entering Sector 2, which it was purple, but since he's the first car to, do Sector 1 on a hot lap, I believe, of course it's going to be purple. Going to this sort of hairpin-esque corner here, which leads to the massive back straight that Cota is sort of iconic for, I guess. Is just go, just drive down it, really. That's what you do. Into the left-hander, which does lead to the start of Sector 3. As the Haas driver, obviously it is another purple sector. The mini F saying it's a purple sector because he's the first guy on hot lap. Rounding these not low speed, but I don't know, Sector 3 at Cota is always a very interesting sector. So many different lines you could take to defend or overtake. He's going to round the final corner now. Should be dropping his battery to 0 anytime. Cross the line. It will be a 33.299 for the benchmark time for everyone else to try beat. Here's if you want to take the next person left, because I've got to get someone back in.
So yeah, I'll see who's currently on a lap. I think that McLaren's on out lap. We'll stick on board with your driver and Chevy Rules in the Audi, as AXT does a 133.2, almost borderline a 0.3, but that's already pretty close to a... Is Chevy's on a slow lap? Rip. But that's already pretty close from... What's it called? That's already pretty close from the 32.9 we were saying about earlier, as Kojak's on these mediums, he's saving up the battery and maybe going for a little bit of a slower lap here, but we'll see. As I think that's Durr behind him. I put some decent money. Yeah, it's definitely going to be the Durr in the map behind him. But we'll stick on board with the other Haas man. We'll see if he can yell. Oh my words! As he decides to pull into the pits, so we'll jump back to Durr, who is on a lap. He's on his mediums, so some of these guys are probably really hoping for rain. Durr comes across the line at a 1:34.4. So currently a 1.2 second difference between P1 and P2, and that is quite a margin already. So yeah, that we're not sure how this is going to go, but we'll stick on board with the OG Cookie, who missed out on his sprint race. And SJ goes just lots in behind her at about 1.5 tenths difference. We'll see what the McLaren man can do as he comes around in the final corner. What can he do on the run up to the line? He can go P2 over 133.9. We won't be finishing the rest of that. Anyway,
I wonder why.
We'll go back to. We'll stick on board TMT as he comes through the final maps. Top 10 predictions. Who do you reckon will be top 10 the racing party?
Whoever finishes in the top 10. In all seriousness, though, if there is rain coming, then literally anything can happen. Which, like, race-wise, you can see anyone in the top 10. I mean, to be fair, you haven't really had an opportunity to have like a good wet weather race on this game yet, with all the bugs, like the hot lap bug, things like that. So it'll be really interesting to see if it is, like, how difficult it is to overtake in the wet, or if it's going to be a breeze. But it'll be fairly interesting, I think. One thing's for sure, though. Audi won too,
Yeah, that would definitely be good for your overall charge, as you guys were P2 from Abu Dhabi, then dropped down to, I believe it was P4 in Brazil. So if you guys get 1-2 in the feature race, first of all, how? Let me in on the secrets, please. Secondly, that would be a very good charge, like resurgence, I think is the word I would use, is resurgence, for that charge in the overalls, where Williams has really taken that gap, like we were discussing earlier on in the stream. But besides that, go back. Oh my words! We'll go back to our qualifying, as I'm on board with Noah Huney as he comes around the final corner. Sonny Bray goes into P3, Deli goes into P2. Where can Huney go? Huney goes into P2 over 133.4, and that gap between P1 and the guys in P2 provisionally earlier shrunk down from about 1.2 to about 1.5, 2 tenths is now the margin between those guys, with literally half the grid still left to go in this qualifying session. And I think we'll stick on board with the pass of Kojak.
Do you want me to take it away, Lem? Or?
Yes, please.
All right. He's just. Well, I'm not really just started Sector 2 now, but he's going into. Well, he's in the midst of Sector 2, going into the sort of the hairpin-esque corner before the back straight. 70% battery, which is, a fair bit. I wouldn't say excessive, because, we've had just Cota is in general on the straights. You do need a lot of battery. We do also gain a lot of battery into Sector 3, which Kojak is about to do. This will be a technical banker lap for Kojak, because he does not have a time on the board already. But according to the minimap, it is a purple Sector 2 for the Haas driver. Right in this very technical final sector here of, the Circle of the Americas. So burning his battery through the sweeping right for the double left now. This is quite easily to invalidate either one of these corners, really. He looks like he's taken it comfortably. Burning to the line, it is a 34.3 for the Haas driver, which is barely over a second off his teammate, which is pole, provisionally at the moment. So, still solid first lap for the Haas driver as Corota's left, and I'll try to get him back in the meantime. As actually does improve by a little smidge on his time.
Yeah, AXT and Krojak's teammate just going a little bit faster, but still setting provisional pole. I'll stick on board with Neme, who was the pole sitter in the sprint qualifying, and we'll see if he can recreate that here in the feature quality. As I think that was Com that's just jumped up the leaderboard. It was Com, so yeah, they have done the sprint race, and it was quite action packed. Mike behind is purple, sector 1. We'll jump back to Mike after we finish on board with Menmei's lap, as the Mercman comes flying around. It's very easy to invalidate here, as you need to have you need to be very, very brave with how much speed you can carry through turn, I believe that's turn 19, as Menmei goes at P1 of a 1:33 flat. And currently that's better than his lap in the sprint quali. We'll jump back to Mike, who was purple in the first sector and possibly in the second, as he comes around turn 19 and then up to the final corner of turn 20. His teammate goes into provisional P7. Mike up to the line. What can he go? He can go P2, another 33 flat. These guys are getting very close to one another in this qualifying session, as there are still a few guys yet to do a lap, but still these guys are doing some crazy competitive lap times, as we'll try to find someone who's actually on a lap. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of 6 minutes left in the session. I believe we have found one in Team Legend. We'll stick on board with him on his run into turn 11. The Rebel Man looking to score some points for I don't remember where their factory is set up. That would be actually really helpful to know. But anyway,
somewhere in Britain, I think. I believe.
That sums up pretty much every F1 team apart from a grand total of 2. As Tinker does run wide at turn 12, but he doesn't invalidate. Some might say Michael Massey is the FIA director, or whatever it's called, for Division 3 this week. But TMT 3 times up on his lap time. Currently, that would get him into a few positions up the ball, but we'll see what he can do as he tosses the car in through turns 19. And he chooses to bail on his lap. He might have maybe burned a little bit too much battery on his lap. Maybe that might have been the case, but the old tire run, that explained it. But as pretty much everyone else is going to be coming, everyone's going to come into the pit lane now, as the OG Cookie will stick on board with the OG Cookie as he's on his outlap, and this is probably going to be his final run. Sig Party, take it away.
Alright, burning the battery onto the run into the very uphill and sort of blind corner, that is turn 1 at Cota. Got about 90% on corner exit, burning the battery down, and down we go to about 60 or 50 now. Is burning a little bit through the S's as well, which is a little bit unusual. Very wide for the right-hander there, and taking a sharp left. He's 1.5 tenths up on his previous sector 1 time through the left-hander, going out of, or not going out of it, but going into this the corner before the back straight. He's got about 50% battery on corner exit, give or take, which he will be burning all of it down into the upcoming left-hander and then into the final sector of the Circuit of the Americas. But into this sort of heavy brake, or was a heavy braking zone, still is, but with the Leica on the game, or just in these cars in general, it's definitely a little bit easier. I believe I was 2.5 tenths up, I think. Through the left now, it's just how much battery can you burn through the sweeping right without getting wheel spin, and just getting that rear end step out. very wide for the McLaren there, and into the double left. Oh, I thought he was going to go with the Travis there. And final corner, got that pretty nicely, and to the line, it is a 33.5, a 4/10 improvement for the McLaren driver, which is, pretty good, I must say.
Yeah, P7 for the McLaren man, and he's going to be out of sync with the rest of these guys where they're still yet to do his laps, so they're laps. So I think Cookie will fall down just a little bit, considering how early he has gone out on to do his lap. Oh, pardon me. But we'll stay with AXT, as I believe he'll be the first one. Never mind, I think it's Chevy. We'll stick on board with the Audi driver as he comes across the line, start his flying lap, and then once Chevy across the line, we'll jump back to AXT. But currently going through turn one, the Audi driver not getting any of that traffic. They're all very sensible, sticking in the pit lane and in the pit lane exit to not impede the Audi man. As he burns down, it's a little bit of dab on the boost, and now we should be in the Nana battery mode. We should be harvesting all through these S's and never really going for throw. Chevy is 4/10 up on his lap time. That will currently sit him in at a comfy, roughly P15, P16 sort of area, but he's still got the rest of his lap to go. As we come into the run for turn 11, he's got 60% battery coming onto the straight. He's got a bunch of cars in front of him. Hopefully, he doesn't get impeded as he chooses to stick to the right-hand side, not trying to get any sort of slipstream off of the guys on the left, burning all the way down to zero before getting back on the brakes. Didn't seem to lift a whole lot into turn 12, and that's going to put him on the back foot quite a fair bit for battery, but he is 5/10 up as it gets very wide through turns 13 and 14, and now in turn 15 gets the power down very nicely, and he's going to be on the boost mode all the way up through turns 16, 17, and 18, and on the run to 19. There is a slow-moving Red Bull in front of him. Hopefully, no delays. He does go quite a bit wide, and the Red Bull will come around the final corner and giving a little bit of dirty edge to the Audi as the Audi goes off the track, keeps it, doesn't invalidate, and loses all of his time and only loses that 0.02 of a second to his actual lap. But we'll jump back to AXT, who has just come out of turn 11, burning down to 50% and still got quite a lot of battery for the second half of this lap. Maybe we'll see what his sector 3 time is. 2.5 seconds down. I think he's going for a double out lap here. So, as the OG Cookie has retired in the pits, he's still sitting in that P7 position. But obviously, these guys are still yet to actually do laps. We'll see if we can find someone relatively far in the lap, as we'll stick on board with the V-Carb TP of Com United, who I think that was 3/10 up on his uptime as he comes through turn 15, gets onto the boost mode as he comes through turn 16, 17, and 18. AXT retires from the session and will not be doing another lap. He will not be improving on his lap time. We'll see what Com can do on the run up to the line. Keeps it nice and over curb. Gets on the boost mode very early through the corner. And walking to the run up to he can go to P5 with 133.3. And now we'll jump back to Deadly Fuller, who's 3/10 up on his lap. Kaus goes to P10. What can his teammate do? His teammate, 4/10 improvement, can still only keep it in P9. I believe that is Druzilla. It was Druzilla as he goes up into P10. Next up is going to be a Red Bull of, not TNT, of Jay-Z, who can go into P15. And next up is the Aston duo of Wogjet, as he can only go to P12, and Mike Wazowski, who's currently sitting P2, and he can't find an improvement. And now everyone else can across the line. And yeah, there's no hope of actually trying to jump on those guys. As Medmate goes to 32.9, Sunny Pro goes very wide in turn 19. He goes very wide again. But we'll jump back to the McLaren of David, who can go into P20 and is followed up by TMT. What a lap from some of these guys, as some of them didn't even make it back around to start their laps like duh. So OG Cookie, despite doing his lap very early on, only lost out one position. But Memme has done it again. He has gone back to pole like he has done in the sprint race. And hopefully for the Mercedes driver, he can get a better launch than what he did in the sprint party.
Hopefully. I mean, you don't want to do another Kimi Antonelli start, or Kimi Antonelli-esque start this year. Or a, what would you call it, a 2024 Lando start as well, from pole.
As we'll go through our grid order of Membe, who's almost done a 0.8 in the 32s. That is quite a lap to do, followed by Mike Wazowski, AXT, Moe Nabs, Com United, Noah Huni, Durr, OG Cookley, Deadly, Fuller, Drizilla, Connor, Kaus, Cristiano, Sonny Bray, Krojag, SJ Jay-Z, TMT, Sheffield Wolves, David, Krutakama, and Filthy, who served his quali ban.
I mean, you know, second week in a row of a quali ban to one of the Ferraris, you know. Wouldn't want to be that team, you know. Their team principal must not be that good.
Post, I think that might be me gone. Is that me or is that the lobby gone?
Com has just left for me, so
Okay,
I believe that
was
Com.
Okay, so that might have been
Hopefully.
Com, and I think there was another one that was Jay-Z, so...
Yeah, hopefully this doesn't end up like Div 2 was, where we have to restart, but
yeah, that's a bit of a yikes. Yeah, that is a bit of a yikes. We'll see how... We'll see if the lobby is... what's the word for it? Stable. Hopefully it is. Well, obviously, if it's not, then we may need to red flag. But yeah, we'll monitor, and hopefully, within a few laps, we might get some updates on what the sitch is going to be on our host disconnecting. That might have been a game crash, though, or power outage of some form, which hopefully it is, and it's not just like an internet-related issue. Well, I mean, pure internet. But
Com has said in the Div 3 chat that their game did crash, so...
His comments join back, and we go to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights. And there's a very quick lights out, and away we go. Mike Wazowski, I believe, getting off the line very well.
Memme's done it again.
Memme's done it again. He holds out to P2. AXT looking to go around the outside of Moe Nabs, and it is absolute chaos. Oh, there's a car sideways in the mid-pack. Oh, and that is Druzilla getting tapped around, and that is a bunch of chaos there at the back in turn 1, but that is the way Cota T1 is kind of designed. You are never not going to have any chaos through there, as Kaus and Connor side by side for the S. There's a little bit of contact between the two, and as Krojag going off, there is chaos everywhere as Druzilla gets hit into the wall. Oh my lord, that is a crazy way to start this race. But we'll jump back up to the front. Mike Wazowski taking P1 away from Membe, but Membe not falling down all the way to P5 like he did in the sprint race. He has learnt his lesson from the sprint race and is looking back to will be looking to make a move back on the Aston Martin of Mike Wazowski. But yeah, not as much clouds as what we saw in the qualifying, so maybe rain a little bit later on in the race could be a factor here, as we don't get any sort of weather reports here in the comms box, sadly, which, EA, if you're listening, pretty please. That would be very helpful. But it is Mike Wazowski, followed by Menmei and AXT on the first lap of this race here in Division 3. We'll see if there's going to be any moves from any of these guys. Moe looking for it. AXT getting very close to the back of Meme, but these guys are all starting to settle down. They know it's not the end of the world right now, like it might have been in the sprint if you'd lost a few positions. Kaus, Druzilla, and Krojag all in the pits, presumably to change their front wings from that very chaotic start. Sig Party, what is your take on that?
Well, obviously very chaotic for, I believe there was a car sideways just across the track. But props to Filthy, I believe, was the main gainer from that, as is P12, I think. Yeah, P12, starting from P22, is just... I believe it was up to P13 in one lap, and then he swapped with his teammate Webby into turn one. But props to Filthy for just being for just being able to avoid that, all the carnage really, and just being able to make up so many positions off the start. As it could prove to be obviously the sprint race winner could prove to be a real threat later on in the race to these front runners.
Yeah, he's gone up 10 positions already, and there's been a lot of gains and a lot of losses here. But looking at the tyres, currently, I believe everyone in that grid started on the mediums before they made any pit stops, as Mike Wazowski. Never mind, AXT does a faster lap so far, but we're very sure that'll be toppled quite quickly later on in the race. But like we were saying, it's not, at the moment, if you lose a position, it's not the end of the world. Whereas you have the next 25 laps, quite literally the next 40 minutes, roughly, to make that place back. Whether it be on pure pace and making the overtake on track, then just taking off into the distance, or in the pit lane and making the correct strategy call and making the overtake there. So obviously not into the pit lane, but strategically wise, making the overtake in the pit lane, which we might see from the likes of Menmei. I think Menmei is usually pretty spot on with the strategy, so he will definitely be a threat for the strategy, as they're already saving so much battery down the the back straight. But yeah, these guys all just chilling in their line, taking it nice and easy. As we jump a little bit further back, Deadly Fuller and Sonny Bray are going side by side, along with Filthy and Wogjet are behind as well. So yeah, these guys, Sonny Bray looks for a move on the inside, as we have got an update with Mr. Deadly Fuller and Sonny Bray having slight wing damage. Chevy picking up, being the first penalty of the night, and he is off in the dirt. So that is not what you want to see from the Audi man. And Deadly picking up a 3-second time penalty next. So that slight wing damage is definitely hurting the Williams man here tonight. And yeah, hopefully, if it's not too bad, he might be able to stick it out and get away with not changing the wing. But obviously, if it's too bad, he's going to have to come in and change that when he comes off those mediums. But we will stick on board with the Mercedes man, or I almost called him a McLaren man, the Mercedes man of Menmei, as he's creeping up onto the back of Mike. Menmei sitting on 100% battery, Mike only sitting on about 60%, so Menmei obviously having the advantage of overtake mode and being able to generally save more and having a bigger harvest limit, but also not being under pressure as much as like what Mike is, as Mike has to burn that battery to be able to keep in front of him. But Menmei doesn't have to burn as much to stay within the overtake mode range. So yeah, quite an interesting dynamic we have here, Sick Party.
Yeah, I mean, speaking from my experiences in Div 2, it was to even try, obviously I've shown you the clips, Lamb, but trying to just even go for a move, you have to be very creative, and you tend to not be able to get many moves on the straight unless they make a mistake at on the corner beforehand on the exit of it. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more moves in Sector 3, or maybe going into the S's, because I know you can catch some people by surprise by burning just a little bit through there, as Menmei is just pushing, or effectively pushing Mike Wazowski along here. I mean, 1/10, 2/10, now 3/10 gap between the Aston and the Mercedes man. Will be interesting to see, as Molly's almost fallen out of AXT's or boost. I'll say boost, but it's like that 1 second gap there, which doesn't matter mid lap, but towards the end of the lap it will matter. As Minmay does have 100% battery going at the start of the back straight with the boost mode as well. Can he get done here? or will he have to try do something more creative, like a bit of a send into sector 3? Slightly defensive from the Aston driver, though, and maybe a flick to the inside for the Merc? No. Yeah, so you have to be very, or fairly aggressive here to get just a move on people, really. As the normal conventional corners, if you will, where you think you'll be able to get the overtakes, it's fairly difficult to do so. Is Molly going for it now into the left? Does he get it? Oh, EA's camera angles is screwing me over here, but he does not.
Well, that is very brave. Very, very brave from the Mercman, as he went for the move into turn 19. That's already quite ballsy, if you will. Mike now feeling the obligation to go defensive, and that's going to let Meme possibly get a switchback, and Meme having the superior battery here, it's going to look and surprise him, like you were saying, going into the S's, and the move for Lee is going to go side by side from the S's. The Aston and Merc giving each other just the perfect amount of space, and the Aston holds it out against the Mercedes man, and this is already shaping up to be quite an interesting race, as if they're not careful, AXT sitting right there, ready to pick up any scraps that these two might leave behind and drop. But yeah, that is very, very close to being the lead of the race for Meme, as he tried into turn 19 and then tried all the way through turns 3, 4, and 5, but couldn't quite get there. And now he's borderline lost that battery advantage, but he's still just getting in the mirrors of Mike Wazowski here, trying to send what we like to call in the business industry a mind punt. But now he's going defensive from the Haas, and yeah, they're just getting in each other's mirrors at the moment. They're just trying to force each other into a mistake, and once that does happen, then that just lets the other guy breeze through, and yeah, happy days. But we'll jump back to Com and Sonny Fraser. These two have been swapping quite a fair amount of positions as Com goes down the inside, just ahead of Sonny Bray going to turn 19, and Filthy looking to capitalize on that as he jumps Sonny Bray pretty much on the battery as he's hit the harvest limit. And now he's going to be looking to make the move on Com, but we'll jump back up to the front. Can we please see Gap to the leader? Yes, you can. We'll take a look at Gap to leader. Now, currently, all that fighting in the background for that P9, they're still fighting here. These guys brawling it out, and they're 7.5 seconds off of the leader at the moment. Was that Sonny Bray? Yeah, Sonny Bray trying to pounce on the Com going into the S's, but couldn't quite do it. But yeah, these guys are absolutely brawling here in the midfield, and always very close to contact between the Audi and Ferrari, which us two being the TPs in the comms box, maybe not what we want to see, and hopefully there won't be any contact between these two. But I think we'll jump back up to the front. That's not the front. That's last. As Meme is still, he's still got a little bit of a battery advantage, but not quite as big a one as he had before. And now those gaps are starting to open up. Those 6/10 gaps, 6 to 7 to 8/10 gaps are starting to open up. The only really guy that's decently close is shooting on the back of Moe, who, what we've heard from our man, I don't know what to call Mars at this point to make it even punny. Our man in the background, so our man behind the scenes, Moe is on his last warning. So speaking of last warnings, Connor has just gotten his last warning and picked up a 3-second time penalty for his interpretation of the track limits. But Moe just getting dropped out of that overtake range, and now he's going to be left without it. He's not going to have as much recharge as Uni, and he's not going to have that extra, I think it's half a megajoule of battery, as Chevy Wolves now picks up his third and final warning on lap, and these guys are only getting penalties on lap 8. So do you reckon we could see quite a fair amount of penalties here tonight, Sick Party?
It wouldn't really surprise me, as just with how on track limits you really have to be, or on edge of track limits you have to be at Cota, just to be able to maximize the pace. It wouldn't be too surprising, as AXT has just dropped out of the, so I guess a 1 second gap to Min-May right before the straight. I do believe this race will be decided, or at least front runner wise, will be decided by who just calls it first and goes for the biggest undercut, as obviously we're not seeing many moves in this sort of the front 5, front 6 sort of area here at the moment in this Grand Prix, as it's just sort of stagnated really between these top positions. But yeah, I mean, obviously it just depends or how long they can confidently make the hards last in the race. As Moe does finally get that final warning, as Mars was saying earlier, as he was on 2. As we do have yellows towards the back. Who is that?
I believe that was Sonny Gray. He might have had a little bit of contact with Filthy. And if they have, they've come to blows for the second week in a row. And Sonny Gray dropping down the order quite a fair bit, losing, I think it was 3 positions from that. So obviously not what he wants in this race if he wants to have any chance of getting up there and really making a mark in this race.
There is a bit of V-carb wing I've just seen bouncing around at turn 1. Or like an end plate, I believe, off a V-carb. And I don't know if that was Critter or Com, but there was definitely a piece of white front wing.
That was off of the one and only Critter Palmer. He's missing his front right end plate. And yeah, that's going to hurt the V-carb man, as I unfortunately experienced out of my own doing. End plate damage around here is, for lack of proper wording, and by proper wording I mean by lack of not being able to swear on the stream, it sucked a lot. So poor Critter is going to have to go the rest of this stint without that end plate, which is so crucial here, especially I believe the right side is going to be a lot more brutal than what it is on the left. So poor V-Card man is going to be struggling a lot here. But we'll jump back up to the front. Durr has fallen off the back. Never mind, Durr made the overtake on Moe during that lap. But now he's not going to have the overtake range on the likes of Noah, who is just kind of getting towed along by AXT here. But AXT is quite a fair ways off the front too here, as these guys are cooking up a storm. And TMT Legend boxes off of his mediums, and Connor picks up another 3-second time penalty, buddy.
What is that up to now? Like 6, 9? Like penalty wise, I have no idea. But I'm just glued to these front runners at the moment. The front 2 of Min-Mei and Mike Wazowski here at the moment, as Mike just seemingly can't build a significant enough gap to Min-Mei here. As I believe Min-Mei has a give or take a 30% battery advantage to the Aston going onto Australia's Cows. He does get a 3. He did get the damage, wing damage from the carnage that ensued on the exit of turn 1 on lap 1. And he was forced to box. As Min-Mei's going to try send it around the outside. Maybe a switchback on the Aston. Is he there? He can't, but the Aston is forced to go defensive, which should give Min-Mei a hypothetical run into the next few corners. Will he send it around the up the inside? No, he'll open up the corner, try to get a better exit. Will we see a move esque to what we saw from Min-Mei earlier with a send into the second last corner? Oh, still forcing the Aston to just be on his toes there, as Krojak has a 3. Min-Mei to the inside, yellows, as Min-Mei does dive into the pits.
Oh, Krojak's backwards. He's managed to go into the wall there with his hitting his rear wing. So yeah, Kojak going backwards. That's the yellow flags in sector 2. But yeah, Min-Mei getting that overtake done and then darting into the pit lane, burning all of the battery. And because when you go into the pit lane, you recharge all of your battery, well, majority of it anyway. So when Min-Mei comes out of the pit lane, he is going to be quite the ways up on battery, but he's fallen all the way down into P12, just behind Jay-Z. So he's got quite an undercut to do on those hards, and hopefully he can make it to the end, as Cota, Texas is a bit of a tire killer here. So hopefully the Mercedes man can make it to the back and make it back up to the front and be able to fight with Mike Wazowski. But Huni and AXT just going side by side through turn 11. Huni goes very wide as they get very close to each other. AXT looking to make the move back, looking to the inside, can't quite get it. Same with Moe. Moe looking to make a move on the Mercedes, but yeah, they're just not being able to get close enough with the way the battery works in this year's regulations. But we'll jump back to Menmays. He manages to get past Jay-Z relatively quickly, and that is what he wants. You do not want to get caught up in the traffic here, especially when you're on the undercut. And we'll see what Mike Wazowski will do. And yeah, he chooses to box and to react to the undercut. Same with Huni, same with AXT, and same with Cookie. We'll see what Filthy does. Filthy choosing to come into the pits. Same with Comp. Everyone's going to be filtering into the pit lane. Kudakama's choosing to stay out. Same with Ashley's their teammates in the pits. Meme, here comes Meme. He's already
Surely Meme has it. Surely he has it here.
He misses out on overtake mode on the car in front, which would be very helpful here. But we'll see where, yeah, he just jumps out. Look at where they are.
He comfortably has it.
He very, very comfortably has it. And now Mike Wazowski is going to have quite the effort to do. Is that's almost
3 seconds? Oh, wow. That is a mighty undercut from the Mercedes man of Mid-May.
And as Dirk at 3 seconds now. But yeah, Mike Wazowski, he's definitely on the back foot here, but Mid-May does have a little bit of traffic to go through still. But I don't think that's going to be enough, as Mike would need Meme to go through a substantial amount of traffic to really hurt Meme's gaff. But yeah, Meme's going to fly past SJ here, going into turn 12, and hopefully you do not want to be stuck behind a car on older tires, and especially not one that is quite a way slower than what you'd be in that Mercedes. He's just getting stuck behind it, and this is really going to hurt his undercut. But I think he's got such a gap that he can afford to not do anything silly here and still have quite a comfortable margin, as he's just stuck behind that car, because I do have a little bit of a touch through turn 16. But yeah, Meme maybe looking to make a move down the inside turn 19, can't quite get it. But now, as we see Kudakama coming to the pit lane, SJ choosing to stay out, another lap on those old mediums, and Meme sitting behind him is borderline he's lost a second and a little bit now. So yeah, as Meme looks to make the move, just sticking the front wing there, tire alongside, Com gets a 3 second, looks to apex down the second gear, and now he's going to turn this into a traction race, and he goes around the outside at turn number 2, and Meme is now back into the lead of the race, even though he did lose quite a lot of his time to Mike Wazowski behind SJ. And that is really going to play into Mike's hands, as Mike cuts a lot of the track there, trying his very best to catch back up. But once Mike catches up to SJ, that gap between him and Meme's shrunk a lot. But to be fair, a lot of the gaps behind him has grown from that 7 to 8 tenth range up to about 1.5, as there's a 1.6 gap to Noah behind, there's 1.5 to AXT, 1.5 to Durr, 1.7, 2.2 to Moe. Then you get a little bit of a train. But yeah, this is really played into Moe's hands. Mike Wazowski down the inside of SJ into turn number 12. And through goes the Aston. Now the Aston only needs to find 5 tenths of pace on the Merc in front of him to be able to get back within that overtake range, and then it's back on. It's all to play for the Aston. So hopefully we get a bit of a fight here, Sakai.
And yeah, hopefully, just, as any comms would, you do want to fight for the, just battles in general. But the thing is, so it does peel into the box now, but it is one thing to catch, or as we saw in the earlier stint with Min-Mei trying to get a move on Mike Wazowski, it is one thing to catch or to stay with the leader, but it's another thing to overtake, as in these cars at least, Cota is still, as I was saying earlier, you have to go for creative moves if you want to move to work, really. Or just slowly drain your person you're trying to battle with battery, but that is very much easier said than done, as now the gap is almost back up to 2 seconds. It is back to 2 seconds between Min-Mei and the Aston Martin driver of Mike Wazowski, as it will be interesting to see if Mike can catch up to the Mercedes man, who now finally has clean air on his front wing, and B, be able to overtake him and take the win away. As we do see a little bit of side by side in the midfield between Filthy, Moe, and Com United here, entering the back straight. As it'll be interesting to see what these three will be doing as Com runs out of battery by the looks of it. Filthy's got a little bit more, and he does seem to have the advantage here. Will he get the move on Moe Nabs? No, he won't. He just won't be close enough there, sort of at that braking zone. But yeah, but still, that's Crookie didn't pull away more with that actually. As Moe's still barely going to be within the overtake range of the McLaren in front of him. Is there really any other Battle Slam at the moment? Can you see?
Not a whole lot. I think we might stick on board with these guys until some of the front runners close up a little bit more. But Cookie might be playing the smart game here and trying letting Moe stay within the overtake range of him, so that Filthy, it's a lot harder for Filthy to get past, and this will play into Cookie's hands as Moe has that 3 second as Sonny speeds into the pit lane, and yeah, that is a retirement from the Audi driver. That is not what you want to see from your driver, especially as their TP. But yeah, Sonny pulls into the pit lane, and we'll go back to these guys. But yeah, Cookie may be trying to keep Moe within the overtake range here, and really just trying to make it harder for Filthy to get past Moe, and then in turn making it harder to get past himself. And yeah, everyone is on the hard compound of tires, but Moe having that 1 lap undercut. That's not Moe. That's Moe. Moe having that 1 lap undercut and building out that gap. And Mike having the tire advantage here, even though it's only 1 lap. 1 lap is a dream here in the 50% distance races that we do. So, what do you reckon? Do you reckon this would probably set it in stone for how the race is going to end, Sickbud?
Between the front runners, I mean, it'll be. I mean, I definitely think we'll see them battle in these last few laps, but it'll just be interesting especially with Mike and Minmay here. We didn't really get to see much of Minmay's true pace in the first stint on the medium because he just kept getting he didn't really get a chance of getting clean air or opportunity of getting it, more or less. So it'll be interesting to see if Mike can close up and then be able to overtake the Mercedes man. But I mean, we saw with Huni and HT earlier that it is possible to go for moves on equal tires, just not the easiest thing in the world. But it just depends really on if Mike can catch up or not, or we'll just have a quite simple finish with the sort of the order at the front.
Yeah, currently that gap is kind of fluctuating between 1.6 and then 1.4, maybe 1.3, maybe 1.7 is as a general range between these two. So these two are quite evenly matched here in this race, and really that undercut is hurting. Well, not hurting. It is hurt. It has hurt Mike Wazowski here, and currently, especially in these high-speed sections, Meme really seem to pull out that gap. But then on the straights, Meme seems to lose back out. You see, look at that. It's from 1.4 back up to 2 seconds for the Merc driver. So Meme possibly running, well, probably running a higher downforce package as stupid computer does stupid computer things. But yeah, Meme. But Meme running higher downforce, probably a higher downforce package, and I'd assume Mike is running a lower downforce package. So yeah, this is quite isn't here as there's a spin.
Yellows.
Is it we have a VSC? What has happened there? I think that might have been one Connor. Yeah, Connor losing his front wing. And that brings out a virtual safety car. And as for what I said, Muzz, you guys didn't hear that. But yeah, thankfully not a full course. Granted, I think a full course safety car would have made this race a lot more interesting. But now someone's down. Oh crap! Yes, rats. What do you think of this VSC set, buddy?
Obviously. Oh, I just closed my game. Obviously, it is very easy to get a drive-through, as Mike Wazowski does get one, which is, just a good case of just bottling it, really. Who else got one? Did anyone else get one? Let me check.
No, I think that was just one. It was just Mike
Yeah,
Wazowski.
it was him and Jag at the back, which is unfortunate, but with the nature of Cota Sector 3 in FSC, it is very easy to get one, as I almost got one last night, as out of the last corner I had to lock all my brakes just to avoid getting one. As now Mike is going to drive into the pits, probably drop to around P10, P11, I would estimate.
Yeah,
This is painfully slow.
See where he comes out, as he just comes out of the pit lane now. He's allowed to get back on the lap pedal, and yeah, he almost slots in behind TMT, and he's going to have a long ways to go back, as kind of picks up another 3-second time penalty. But I'm sure if the Aston of one Mike Wazowski catches up to Wogjet, I'm sure Aston they're not gonna use Wogjet to hold up. They're gonna probably swap them immediately and just let Mike go back onto the attack. And do you reckon that's the plastic party, or do you reckon that's Mike's race just over and not done with?
I mean, obviously getting the drive-through is just going to be a big hindrance to any driver's confidence there. As, I mean, if Mike can catch up to his teammate just quickly, I mean, it probably would be the call to swap him around, as it's not like Wogjet's in an active battle at the moment. Unless he can catch up to the drivers in front of him, then it seems it would sort of be in that P9, P10 range. As, I mean, if I was always... Oh, no, it's a lap car, I think, in the last corner.
Oh,
yeah.
probably spawn.
Oh, get off the line, Oh, no,
he's off the track.
Oh,
Still,
right.
that is quite a
Dangerous
spot
spot
to be parked in as he goes across the track just in time before these guys shoot across as he pulls into the pit lane. I'm sure that'd be to put on a set of softs, and never mind, he's spared, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him retire.
Oh, I mean, I thought that was one of the front runners for a minute at the last corner. I was about to say, I think he's just have to drive through, really. He's going to come out the other side, still very slowly. I mean, it's just definitely not the Hassman's day, as, I mean, polar opposite races to the Hasses almost, as no one was in pretty much dead last, and the others in sort of fighting for the final spots of this podium here of AXTs. This is just more yellows for Crowjag, yeah, as he's just driving across the gravel. 10 seconds for cutting it. I mean, it seems Minmay has this win in the bag almost, with a 5-second gap to P2, as OG Cookie goes for the move on Minmay in this sort of fight between 4 cars here. Minmay's going to try hanging around the outside of Cookie. Cookie's going to hold it, but the inside, is he going to defend the inside? Yes, he does. Well, he's going to try to set up the exit here, and I think Cookie should have that there as Com on the back of Filthy. Can he maybe do a bit of attempt a bit of a Minmay-esque move that we saw him try early on Mike Wazowski? As the Astons, speaking of the Astons, they have done the swap around, which is probably for the better. If I were to make the call, it's probably something I would call, but Cookie does lead this sort of train from P5 down to P8, as they're almost all separated by a 10th bar, with the gap between Moe and Cookie. Is Com is trying to get past Filthy here, but just can't seem to get the move done at the moment. So, very interesting battle here between these sort of 4 drivers, and I believe that's another yellow caused by Crowy there. Yeah, Crowy spun in Sector 3 again. which is just unfortunate for the Haas driver. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him pull into the pits and retire the car at this point. But no, he continues running against Com, has gone past Filthy. It's probably you're probably not very happy about that, Lamb, but as Filthy's going to still stay side by side with the V-Carb TP here. I mean, he's got the outside line, Com's got the inside. Who's going to be braver, side by side, leaving just enough room, and Com's going to hook it around the outside of that corner, which will become the inside for the next corner, which, as we've seen, is probably the better line for attacking and defending. As Com's finally completed the move, but he's crucially out of the overtake range of the car in front of him, unless he can squeeze back into it, but I don't think he will. He needs 2-3 more tenths, as now Com will crucially lack that overtake, and Filthy does have a big battery advantage, as Dirk gets P2 on track at the moment, with that time penalty probably points down after the race, unless we see the likes of AXT and Cuny get one as well, as Filthy back past Com now. Com's going to try to hold it. Little bit of contact between the two, I believe. It's still very overall good racing between this top half of the field, as Mike Wazowski is rapidly closing. As Filthy does get a 3, which is, you're probably not going to chat about. Kojak gets disqualified from the race, which is just unfortunate for the Hassman. It's very exciting sort of battles all across the field here in Div 3 at the moment.
Yeah, it's really starting to heat up, and we've still got 7 laps to go. So, yeah, anything could still happen. It's honestly going past the time has kind of gone by kind of slowly. I think it's quite there's a lot of gaps, but now as everyone starts to really converge and close up to one another again, it's the fun of it starting to pick back up here in the comms box. And as Meme crossed the line to start lap 22 out of 28, he's got 6 laps to go. So yeah, apparently Dirk can get some of his warnings removed. So hopefully, as we do have another yellow.
Len, we do have an onboard with AXT.
What has happened here? What happened there is Moe and Filthy had fallen down the order, as we will have the onboard with AXT. Do you want to take this away, Sid Party?
Yeah, just let me tab back to the game. Let me just get on board with AXT, as he is hunting down the two, the Alpine and the back runners. We're going to see Huni dive down the inside of Durr here, as AXT is probably just, he's got front row seats to this battle, and he probably wants to get himself into the battle as well for this, P2 on track, but depending on if Huni himself gets a penalty, Huni's going to try for the move on Durr, back out of it, and now AXT's just probably going to want to sit behind, be patient here, maybe let these two in front of him compromise their line, and let him try swoop through in a bit of a through goes Hamilton-esque move, except at Cota. It just depends what the Hassman can do, as we're rounding the sort of the sweeping right that is Cota Sector 3, as we do see more yellows hairpin, but I don't think that's going to cause anything, as out of the last corner now, he's burning the battery, and it's just, it's interesting what will happen in the battle for second place here in Div 3.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Jenny's jittering all around a lot. You can see that on the spectator mode here in the comms box. And yeah, that's definitely going to be quite a scare for both AXT and Durr, as we know a little bit of lag, contact, and there's pretty much nothing to do, because it's almost like the force is essentially doubled or even tripled in some cases, and that's your race done. So we'll we might stay with AXT a little longer. Just we'll see if he keeps jittering around. Also, I did kind of miss Mars's onboard, so we'll give him his money's worth of an extra lap. But yeah, as we come in, Huni and Durr getting very close and having a little bit of contact as they go for turn 12. And if they're not careful, AXT is right there and ready to pick up the pieces. So they've really got to start being on the more cautious side, I believe. So, but Mike Wazowski already got to P6, so Matt Aston is still here. He is still pushing very hard, and we can still have a very late race safety car here. So, still anything can really happen. As Cookie gets a 3-second time penalty, as all of those penalties are really starting to roll in. And yeah, as you jump off with AXT when we get as he gets very back and hits Huni. I'm not sure if that was a lag Huni or the actual Huni. Well, that is a very big whack in the back of that Alpine's rear wing. Thankfully, oh my words, we run standard damage here in Rush, so fingers crossed that Huni didn't pick up any damage from that in his rear wing or diffuser, and is quite comfortably still being able to sit with Durr. And yeah, so AXT still sitting up there. Moe Nabs picking up another 3-second time penalty, but I believe this race is only just going to be heating up for these guys who are fighting for P2.
I mean, yeah, they're sprawling at it really. I believe Dirt has the on-track P2 pretty safe and secure here from CUNY, who appears to be struggling a fair bit with the battery management at Cota here, as something I do want to pick up on actually. That huge! I saw this comms cursed in there, haven't I? Because you just get a 3-second, which will chuck AXT into P2 unless the Hassman gets a penalty as well. But something I just wanted to note on is Mike Wazowski. I mean, he's had to serve the drive-through, came out in P10. He's now worked his way back up to P6. I mean, could potentially turn to a P5 here, as long as he can slot into Cookie's penalty range there, or even just catch up to the McLaren driver on track and just get the move done. As I believe, it's just a very interesting battle, especially on behind with Com being right behind Mike, then Wogjet and Filthy. It's just a very interesting battle here for B6 on track. There's obviously, props to the guys that still haven't got a penalty yet, as they seem to be the minority now, as most people do have penalties on track. I believe the only way AXT will lose the podium here is if he just starts falling off the back of Huni and Dirt here and drops out of the penalty range, or B, he gets a penalty himself, and I doubt Slushy would be too happy with that. So it would be interesting. Says I believe Wogjet's gone for a move on Com while he's having to think about it, just trying to stick his nose down the V-carbs inside there.
Yeah, Wogjet definitely looking. He's going to be benefiting a lot from mainly Com's penalty, but then also Filthy's behind as well. He's quite safe here, as Huni does go for a move on Durr, so I just missed that. Connor picking up another free. Durr gets straight back past Huni, and we are currently experiencing the very typical yo-yo racing that we have that is this season's regulations, and AXT just taps the back of Huni once again. He's starting to like the rear wing of that Alpine, and maybe liking it a little bit too much. Yeah, AXT probably want Huni to get a bit of a move on through turn number 1. Maybe he thinks he can carry a little bit more speed and try to attack through turn 1, but obviously AXT really doesn't have to do a whole lot, as he is sitting pretty at the moment without a 3-second penalty, and the two guys in front of him both have 3-second penalties. So AXT is really the one sitting pretty here as he can just chillax behind these guys. Huni is looking to make another move on dirt, but will we see a late dive to the inside from the Alpine? No, we will not. And these guys will be fighting for that on track P3, as they're not, as Cookie and Mike are not in their 3-second range, and so and these five guys both have 3 seconds, so they're going to be fighting for positions on track. While AXT can just chillax, kick his feet up, and really just run his own race and let these guys fight and pick up the scraps, if any scraps seem to be provided, as they're goes defensive, and already sees it coming from Huni. Huni's attack into the final corner that he's been surprising guys with pretty much all night, been predicted by Durr. Now they're all really bunching up. AXT looking to the inside of Huni. The Haas and non-V-Cub. The Haas and Alpine go side by side. Huni uses a little bit of boost on the exit, and now it gets right up to the back of Durr as they head into the S's. And these guys are really starting to bunch up. AXT putting on the pressure now and really forcing Huni into the back of Durr and trying to make them fight to see if he can pick up and see if he can force any mistakes from one or maybe even possibly both of them. But we'll see what happens as Huni gets a very good run going into turn 11. Durr lifting and coasting quite a lot. AXT down the inside. Durr losing 2 positions there as Durr gets a nice switchback on the Haas.
It's a mighty switchback. Oh my lord.
And now they're going to be drag racing down the back straight into turn 12. And which way does Huni choose to go? Left, right? He chooses to defend. A little bit of a bump between the Haas and Merc. AXT trying to get the switch back. Can't quite get it. He's still stuck in that P4 position. And he's now right on the gearbox of Durr. And if they fight too much, they're going to let Huni get away. And obviously, this isn't too big a thing for AXT, but for Durr, that is going to be very, very crucial as Chevy Wolves retires in the pit lane. But we will stick on board. I think we'll stay with Durr for this final lap, Sick Buddy.
I'll just hop on board with him now. As the battle for P2 on track is definitely heating up, as we did see Durr lose 2 positions going into the third corner before the massive back straight, which Cota is pretty much known for. But then obviously Durr did hit that very good switch track on the Hassman of AXT. As I am seeing rain coming down now. So maybe this could induce a few mistakes, which obviously if you're either Durr or Huni here, you definitely like AXT to make a big one. But I do really doubt he will, as it seems straight mode is still enabled at the moment, so it's definitely not inters, but on old hards, which, at least for me, when I hit around lap 12 or we're floating around 60%, will probably not be too much fun for these guys on the final lap, but as long as Minmay doesn't make a very big, massive, huge mistake, he should have the win in the bag. As there's yellows from... Who is that? Oh, I have no idea. But there was definitely yellows. Minmay's only got 1 more sector to go. Connor gets another 3. As he's going to round these final few corners. Round the last corner. He doesn't need to push anything. There's another 3. Oh, and Minmay's going to round the final corner, cross the line, win the not American Grand Prix, the Texas Grand Prix. Huni takes second on track, but will lose out to AXT on penalties. Huni will drop to P3, Durr will drop to P4. Cookie maybe will get P5 if he will get P5, barely to Walkjet in P6, Filthy P7. Com P8, Molly P, no, Mike Wazowski P9.
Mike ran out of fuel in those last few sectors. Oh, no.
Oh. Okay, so Mike will take P8, Com will take P9, Molly will take P10, TMT will take P11, Cruder will take P12, SJ will take P13, Deadly Fool will take P14, and to round off the points, Jay-Z will take P15, with David now rounding the final corners to cross the line in P16. Then it will be Chaos, Druzilla, and then Connor when Connor, as the Ferrari driver's just entered Sector 3, so we'll be here for another 30-ish seconds as we could. Yes, we just got to wait for the Ferrari man, I guess, to hopefully just comfortably run these corners now and just cross the line so we can get these interviews rolling.
Yeah, and I'm going to be very curious as to who got driver of the day. And I believe it's driver of the day and driver of the day. It's what's the word? It's not even the words. It's cleanest driver and fastest lap, as those are the extra points that you can score in the race. And as Josie has left the session, hopefully EA doesn't do EA things as Medmate comes across the line. He has won a very convincing race here in Cota, Texas. Druzilla getting the extra fastest lap point for Alpine. Filthy is driver of the day. Most overtakes goes to Cruda and Wogjet picking up the other extra point in cleanest driver. But we'll quickly run through the race grid order with Meme winning it quite convincingly with no penalties of his own. Then AXT getting up in the P2 with that, making sure, keeping it clean, no penalties at all. Huni keeps in P3, followed by Durr, Cookie, Wogjet, Filthy, Mike Wazowski, Com United, Moe Nabs, TMT Legend, Krudakama, SJ, Deadly Fuller, Jazzy, David, Kaus, Druzilla, Connor, and then Chevy, Sunny Bray, and Krojak round out your finishing positions. And we'll quickly grab these for the race results as well. And yeah, that just about sums it up. Menmei seemingly loving this track, so Muzz probably very happy with the performance of both of his drivers being in contention for the double podium here, Sick Party.
Yeah, I mean, well, with where Muzz is in the overalls in P8, it's probably one of the few things he can be happy about this season so far. I think it was P1 and P4, P4 in the end of things, which was still definitely a successful weekend or successful race for the two Mercs in Div 3.
Yeah, 100%. That is very successful. As one of them won, as Menmei won it on track, not even on track. He just flat out won it, and yeah, and being up there pretty much the entire time and just losing out to based on those penalties. And I believe the rain assisted him in getting that final warning, which gave him that other 3 second, which led to a total of 6 seconds of time penalties. So it's unfortunate from on that side of the garage, but I'm pretty sure he's comfortably championship leader, though that could be very wrong. I'll take a look at the standings. Results, Division 3, driver standings. Never mind. There was a singular point off of Wogjet going into this race, but with the way it's gone, I'm pretty sure he's leading it now. As if you'd be ever so kind to ping the guys that need to come in here for their interviews, that would be amazing.
I will do so then.
Thank you very much. But yeah, what a race. We did end up getting that little bit of rain at the end of the race, like it was predicted. So yeah, it's quite interesting that we only had the rain at the very end. So I think we would have been quite fortunate if we had more of a wet weather race. But obviously, beggars can't be choosers, or however that saying goes. So yeah, that is still a pretty fun race to commentate over. And Sick Party, I'll let you take it away for our interviews with Filthy for Driver of the Day.
All right, Filthy. Obviously going into the race, you did have the feature race, you did have a quality ban, but you did end up dominating the sprint. So I'll probably start by touching up on that. Would you say the sprint could have gone any better for you at all?
I mean, it went pretty much as planned. So, I mean, some things maybe I could have, because overall it was just a test, because I haven't done much practice on this track. So it was really seeing my race pace compared to everyone else.
I mean, it did definitely look very strong in the sprint, as you did lead by or win by a sizable margin. As to touch back up on the race, you did gain, I believe it was 9 or 10 positions just in lap one alone. So, how would you describe what you saw next to turn one, lap one?
Really terrifying, because you never know what's going to happen at the top of the hill. As soon as you come up and start braking, it's either you kind of just close your eyes and pray that you don't get hit or someone doesn't spin. So yeah, it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, definitely a very good recovery drive from you there. I mean, you made very good. You definitely had very strong pace there, and if you didn't have the quali ban, you probably would have been able to push for the win, I reckon. But I will pass you on to your TP now of Lamb for see what questions he has to ask you.
Sweet, thank you, Sick Party. Filthy, welcome back into the comms box. Yeah, obviously, I believe it was P2 in the sprint qualifying to P1 in the race. Did you have any sort of doubts that maybe Meme would have been up there with you in the sprint, considering the quali time, or was you pretty confident from the sprint quali that you was going to be able to beat him in that sprint?
Look, I knew I had more time in that quali lap. I made a fair few mistakes going wide into pretty much every second turn. Along with that, I ran out of battery towards the end. But I'm not really familiar with the other Mercedes, so I didn't know what I was really getting into. If he was going to try, heavily defend me, or just pretty much try push me off track. But I'm happy like we both kept our noses clean.
Yeah, 100%. That's always the way to race, is to keep the nose clean. And yeah, it sounded like you guys had a little bit of fun out there in the sprint before the gaps eventually started to form. And then obviously you had the quali ban in the feature race, or in the feature quali, I should say. And then from P22 to P7, that's a good days out, I'd say. What was the highlight of your race? Because there was a lot of battling that we saw, but there was also a lot at the front that we had to stick with.
I don't know. I feel like that race kind of got overshadowed by how much I could have done better. Realistically, if I hadn't have gotten that quali ban in the first place, I really could have stuck it up there, probably got the race win, but it's all could have been.
Yeah, and that's the way it goes. Really, it's like in the way that, in the words of one, the Max Verstappen is if this ifs. If my mum had balls, she'd be my dad. In the words of him, in the words of Max. So it's all the ifs, and hopefully you don't get a quali ban this week, and you'll be able to qualify for Zandvoort, I think it is, and we'll see what you'll be able to see what you can do there against the rest of these guys again. So congratulations on your driver of the day, and we will let you go and enjoy your night.
Yep. Cheers.
Sweet. Thank you, Filthy. Next up, I'll let you take it away with Mr. Noah Huney for our P3 Sick Party.
Mr. Huny Spoony. Now, I remember I did say to you before the race I was going to comms curse you, and I did exactly that. I was saying something about how your race is going pretty well, and right after that you get a 3-second time penalty. So sorry, not sorry, mate. But overall, just to touch up on the battle you were having with AXT and Derek at the end there. How was it in your opinion? Was it, just do you have any real comments about it?
First of all, it was, yeah, I mean, yeah, It was interesting because apparently in the last few laps I had a red X. I thought it was Der. That is, my mistake. But in the end, I got away fairly clean. I didn't kill him or anything. But no, it was good. I had clean battles up until I picked up the 3 second. I'm like, oh, it's going to cost me a P2. But I'm still, I still walked away with the podium in the end. So really happy about it. But yeah,
I mean, what is it? I mean, what? That's your first podium as a TP, I believe. So,
including the sprint, yeah.
yes.
back
So
to back
props to you,
in the sprint.
Hughie.
Yeah, obviously
Um,
got one yesterday with Johnny. So
oh yeah, but I
back
mean,
to back.
like for you as
Eh,
yourself, as like being a TP now, Hughie, like
yeah. But no,
So,
it feels really good that I've got the pace there. Pace all between the sprint quality, the whole weekend really. It was really up there. I think it was P3 in sprint quality, and then I think it was a little bit lower in feature quality, but we still managed to make our way up. And but yeah,
how are you feeling about Zandvoort next week, Hughie? Do you have any?
it's a track I haven't actually done that much yet on this game, but from last year's, I mean, I had a really honestly, Zandvoort was one of my strongest races last season in D5, where I went from like eighth to third, after getting lucky with a couple safety cars. So it was really really helpful. So it was, but we'll see how we pan out next week.
All right, I will now pass you on to the Ferrari TP of Lamb to see what questions he has for you, Hughie.
All right, thank you very much. Sick buddy.
Well, Mr. Huney, welcome to our comms box. Yeah, congratulations on your P3 here in Cota, Texas. It's definitely been a bit of a rocky start for Alpine, to say the least. And obviously, with Johnny getting his his podium last night and you getting your podium tonight, from a team's perspective, do you think that that's going to give you a bit of a morale boost to kind of get a bit of a confidence boost going over the next few weeks?
I think first of all, you're missing the T2 I got in the sprint, but but other than that, but no, it was a really rocky start in Abu Dhabi. The team just getting settling in. Div 4 again. They were the strongest of the bunch, and again last week in Brazil. I think overall we've definitely got the pace back this week. Obviously it's unfortunate with Johnny, not Johnny, Falcon and Drew and then another incident with Jade's all having issues and DNFs and just wing damage and stuff like that. So unlucky for them to be out of the points. So it's just for them they need to work on the pace a little bit more. But I think overall we're doing, we're catching back up in terms of our overalls and constructors wise. So yeah, I think the pace it's definitely a game there. Team settling in. So
Yeah, 100%. And it definitely seems like those first few weeks, a bit of a not tasters, but really trying to learn. It seemed like it, at least, that you guys are trying to learn how the batteries still work, about how to race each other in the divs. So now that you've kind of learnt that, we've seen it twice so far this week that you guys are able to score podiums. Do you reckon that your Div 4 drivers will be able to carry that same, what's the word, momentum, or what's your expectations for them?
I think after the last week performance with Uncle Morty, where he finished, I think P4, after getting held up a little bit, I think he himself is definitely got the pace to get a podium. Without a doubt, he'll get a win this season. Shiny needs a little bit more pace, but other than that, yeah, I think yeah. But Uncle Morty will definitely get a podium.
Yeah, that is great to hear from yourself, especially with the way that kind of downwards trajectory that Alpine have taken over the first 2 weeks, and now you guys just went down, you went pretty low, but once you go that low, there's only one way to go, and that's up, and you guys are showing the bounce back quite. Oh, what's the word for it? I want to say it's effectively, but I feel like it's not. But we'll go with effectively. It's quite effective your bounce back. So congratulations to you and your double podium in the sprint and feature. And then go ahead and enjoy your night, Huey.
Thank you very much. Obviously, yeah, we got a few things to do post race, but yeah, no, thank you very much, and no comms curse, please. I mean, I did hear that you did comms curse the Aston in front of me in the sprint, so thank you. But other than that, no, it was really strong. But yeah. Anyways, thank you. You both enjoy your night. Yeah.
So that was your man in P3 of one Noah Huney. Sick Party, I will pass you over to. I'll let you interview AXT first for our man in P2.
AXT. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Sick Party. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. You know, you obviously had a very good race there. You know, a comms opportunity for you. Got him a penalty. Oh, so I did see that move that you and Uni did on Durr at the corner before the back straight, where you both sent it on him.
Yeah.
Which Durr probably wouldn't. I'd imagine he wouldn't be too pleased about it. But how would you say your race overall went for you?
So the start wasn't too bad. I did lose a few positions at the start, but started where ended up where I started. And then the pit window came in, I pitted, and I ended up behind Huni, and then I had to be in like AI for a bit, and then Durr got me. But then when I got back, we had a bit of a battle before the race ended. But yeah, it was pretty fun. It was, I had great pace, I reckon. And yeah.
All right. Now my second question for you is it's the same as Uni's. How are you feeling about Zandvoort next week?
Oh, I mean, Zandvoort's one of my stronger checks, so hopefully it goes well. Hopefully I don't get spun off the start. But yeah, I hope it'll go well.
All right, and that is my questions for you. I will pass you on to Lam now for whatever questions he has for you, AXT.
All right, thank you.
Hello, AXT. Welcome to our comms box here tonight. Firstly, congratulations on your P2. It definitely looked like for a little bit, especially in the qualifying, that you were the man to beat. And then Menmei and I believe Mike came out and beat you in the qualifying for the feature. And then obviously Mike had his drive through and a bunch of separate issues, which allowed you guys to get in front of him. But then toward the end, when you guys had all closed up and you were starting to fight with Hudi and how would you rate that on a scale of 1 to 10? Because it definitely looked like you were kind of struggling a little bit there, but also on some of the laps, it looked like that they were struggling. You were the one that was really setting the tone there.
Well, so Dirt and Shini were battling a bit, and then I tried my best to recharge on batteries, so I wasn't pushing as hard, but I was trying to keep up with them at the same time. And then I noticed they were also out of battery. That's when I started gaining on them slowly until I think there was the last 2 laps maybe, or last 3. And then Huni was lagging a bit. It kind of threw me off, but I managed not to get killed by his lag. Had a small dive on dirt, but then he got blocked a bit, so I had to back out of it. And yeah, and then Dirt got a 6-second, I believe it was, and then yeah, it just ended pretty well for me, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. You were really the man that was sitting pretty tonight, not having any sort of penalties, and really just being able to chillax behind Dirt and Huni, knowing that they had both of them had time penalties. So you were really the one sitting pretty, and then when you did start to push, that really forced Uni up to Dur, and then yeah, that was you were there to just really to pick up the pieces, and that was congratulations on picking up those pieces with that 3 second. And then obviously there was a few times going to turn one that I don't know if it was the laggy Uni, but you did get quite close to the back of that Alpine a few times.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of lag. I think I tapped him maybe twice, but didn't spin him surprisingly.
Yeah, and quite thankfully as well, because that was a really good battle, and especially those little bits of contact, you can really tell it was heating up quite a fair bit between you guys. And yeah, just congratulations on your P2 AXT. I'll let you go so you can go and enjoy your night.
All right, thank you for having me. Good night.
Good night, AXT. And Sick Party, please take it away with our race winner of Minmay.
Minmay, how are you doing, my friend?
Absolutely wonderful, boy. I've been waiting to be able to get into the comms box to be able to talk. I'm just absolutely over the moon.
I mean, I must say, you had a really good race, especially on that hard stint there. I mean, brilliant execution of the strategy there with the undercut. I mean, I believe you undercut the Aston by about, 3 seconds was the gap between you and the Aston when you came out of the pits. I must say, the only nitpick I can really point out about your race and also your sprint race was your starts weren't the best. I mean, it was a bit of a. If you remember the days in 2024 in real life F1 when Lando was a bit notorious for getting pole and then dropping like 3 positions off the start, it was a bit Lando 2024 esque, if you will. But what would you? Was it just like poor reaction to the lights, or was it just getting a bit of wheel spin that was really hurting your starts in both the feature and the sprint race?
I mean, I'll absolutely put my hand up first to say it, just absolutely shocking, and I will absolutely eat that criticism. Like abysmal starts. I don't know what happened really. Just a bad start. Just all over. I think I just got the wrong ref count and was a bit slow off the line both times. Yeah, no, I've never really been too great at race starts anyway. But yeah, no, tonight was especially lackluster. So it was good that the race pace could make up for the. Yeah.
Okay, and my second and final question for you, Mimei, will be obviously after your win in Texas, how do you think you can carry on this momentum you've built up into Zandvoort for next week?
I mean, I absolutely hope so. I love Zandvoort. Such a fun track. Obviously, I think it'll also come down a little bit to how much I practice. I did for the first time, I think about an hour of practice in about a year and a bit on this track because it's like notoriously the track that I'm worst at. I'm terrible at Texas usually. Like I've had multiple races where I've gone out and just like pit and quit because I've had over 20 seconds of time penalties. It's like just spin all over the shop and I'll just tap out because it's just not my cup of tea usually. But luckily we found a really good setup this week and it suited me really and was able to pull me through tonight. So I think obviously if I can get a little bit of time on track next week and if I can find a nice setup like tonight's one for Zandvoort next week, then obviously it would be nice to have a chance for another win and for another pole. But I mean, I don't know if you boys know, but I've been racing here since like season 4, and I'd never taken pole or won a race before. So, it's a bit of a big achievement for me tonight, and I'm not expecting to go and run away with the championship or anything now. But I'll take what comes, and I'm just going to celebrate tonight, and we'll focus on next week when it comes around.
All right, and that is my questions for you. I will pass you on to Liam for whatever questions he has for you.
Well. First and foremost, mate, congratulations on, I believe it was your first 2 poles, considering the sprint qualifying as well.
Yes.
Yeah, well, so congratulations first and foremost on both sprint quali pole and feature race pole, as going back to back in the quali sessions like that is quite the achievement. Even if the starts were a little bit of an issue. Sick Party said quite reminiscent of Lando 24. I said it was quite reminiscent of one early this season, Kimi Antonelli, and especially
Ooh,
in that
yes.
Merc that you drive, it's quite fitting. Which I know you said you won't run away with the championship, but it does leave me to wonder if now that you've like kind of set that tone, especially at the starts of one Andrea Kimi Antonelli, do you think you might go on a little bit of a tear like what he did in real life, or considering that Zandvoort's one of your, like you said, one of your more favourable tracks, or is it just kind of like a chillax sort of week next week?
I mean, obviously, I won't complain if that's to come true. I'd love to be a little bit of a little Antonelli underdog coming into the season and then tear apart the track a little bit, as long as those race starts do get sorted. I reckon what I was trying to do, you know how they have like the pre-revs at the starting lights and stuff now? I was just trying to build my battery charge for the rest of the race, I reckon. No, on a serious note though, I mean, look, we'll see what happens. I don't know how much time I'll have on my hands going back to work and whatnot this week, but I think hopefully we could be up there. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends. There's lots of variables and stuff, so and it's not like Zandvoort's always a predictable track either. You know, there's lots of moves that could be made. I think, especially with the regulations that we have now, I think there could be some funky moves that people try and pull off, and you know, always having weather in the back of your mind. But I mean, yeah, we'll see. If I win next week, just call me Kimmy. I don't know.
That will definitely be the nickname that flies around, I reckon, especially if you do go on to win next week. Yeah, and then touching back onto your actual race, definitely getting a much better start than what you did in the sprint, because I think it was like 4 positions roughly off the start in the sprint.
Yep. Yep.
Then in the feature, definitely cleaned it up. Only lost out to Mike, and then really, you look like the one that was really in control of that race. You were just being able to chill behind Mike, and then obviously a few times go like into turn 19, the second last corner. I mean, quite the pair on you, going down the inside into that corner and getting ahead actually as well, making the overtake stick, and then immediately giving Mike the most mixed feelings possibly ever, and then darting into the pit lane. So yeah, you were really on another level tonight. And I guess my question will be, did you think your undercut would be that substantial? Because I think you came out like 3 seconds ahead once you used both box.
Yeah, look, I was hoping so. I did have Mars in as an engineer, and he was a little bit worried about the traffic in front. Luckily, I only caught up to Jay-Z on that one lap, really, and he moved out of the way and gave me a little bit of a nice tow down that second DRS straight there, second battery deployment bull crap attack, whatever it is, straight on the track there. And yeah, I think that definitely helped with my times. But I don't know, just coming out the pits, the tires just felt great. Like, yeah, I just felt glued to the track tonight. I didn't think that I could really do any wrong, and no, lit it up in the right parts and when it mattered. And yeah, unfortunately, I think the undercut was the way for me, and was not the one for Mike to go with the overcut.
Oh, definitely, 100%. It showed when you used both. When he came out of the pit lane, he was 3 seconds behind, so it definitely showed. And with that, I believe that's all the questions I have for you, Menmei. I very much hope that you enjoy your night, knowing that you won that race quite comfortably, and that you got both your first win and first poles here in Rush. Big congratulations to you. And do you have any any special shout outs for tonight?
Yeah, I want to shout out my phony of a drivers' championship brother who came 11th tonight. I told you that I would beat him, and in the first race back, I can't do that to him. He's crippled at the moment, the poor guy. But no, I appreciate him. Obviously, he pushes me a little bit and makes things a bit more competitive. So, as much as he wasn't in the most peak of physical conditions to be able to race tonight, He definitely gave me a little bit more drive to be able to show up big time. I'd like to big shout out to the team principal. I'd like to give a big shout out to Dilby. I'd like to give a big shout out to the engineer and the setups guy. I really appreciate those guys. Obviously, I wouldn't have a seat without the TP. The engineer, I wouldn't have known exactly what to do throughout some of the races and calm my head definitely in some bit. The setup tonight was just absolutely bang on, and big shout outs for the setup, and Dilby's just an absolute weapon of a teammate. So shout outs to those guys as well. Shout out to you boys on comms. Hopefully I'll be able to go and watch that one back, and that might be my little white noise or something when I go to bed tonight. That'll keep me nice and happy. Nothing like listening to a little bit of Lamb and Sick Party on comms. So I think it'll be a nice end of the night, and I very much appreciate it, boys. It's so good to finally get one over, and cross a win off the list finally. It feels like my only achievement really left that I had to get in sim racing. So it's very, very good.
Yeah, the first win always will be special, no matter how many wins you get. It's always that first one that's going to be the most special. Thank you, Menmei, for your excellent performance tonight. Congratulations on your P1, and enjoy your night. And hopefully, we can see and talk to you in the comms box next week.
Hopefully so. Cheers, boys. Much appreciated. Have a good night.
You too, Menmei. And with that, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, that is your Rush Div 3 interviews all done and dusted. Congratulations to everyone on the podium and to our driver of the day. I have been your host. Sick Party has been my co-host. Depending on which one he favors, left-handed or right-handed man,